An entitled Karen tries to get away with stealing products from our store, constantly trying to work the system by claiming that our products are expired, so we might as well give it to her at a discount. And I'm honestly so sick of this Karen, and I really hope she never comes in ever again. Here's what happened. So before I get started, I need to give some small context, just so you know how this happened and understand what the woman's thought process was. I'm one of the leading cashiers at a grocery store chain. I've worked here for many years now, and I've seen a variety of people, including thieves, so I can pick up on it quite easy, and I have some tactics on how to discourage thieves at the register. One of the most common ways people steal at my store is using the sales tag. When an item goes on sale, it's because it's close to the expiration date. We tape on a sales sticker and put it on the sticker shelf. Sometimes people try to peel off the stickers and place them on more expensive items. These aren't automatic stickers and must be inputted manually by the cashier, which does usually deter the thief because the computer will prompt manager permission if a sale input is unusually large for the item. Sometimes I'll do this on a normal item if the price is raised before the sticker is updated. In this case, we compare the barcodes in the item and the machine, we check that the name matches, and then confirm the price raise. If everything checks out, we'll call over a manager to allow the discount sale. The story begins with a woman learning about these discounts and trying to take advantage of it. I'm a primary cashier at the store, which means I'm up at the register the most. Nobody else is at the cash registers unless I specifically request more cashiers. So I encountered this woman one-on-one multiple times and didn't think anything of it. The first time I met her, she brought me 2 loaves of bread, one normal one and one with a price tag. The first thing she told me before I even scanned them was that the sale item was expired and she wanted a bigger discount than what the sale said. Now, per law, we cannot sell expired items. So I outright told her, no, I'm sorry, but legally I can't sell you this. I can ring up the normal bread, but the date on it is still more than a month out, so this is not eligible for a sale. Well, when I said that, she did not like this, but accepted it and left without buying anything. The next time I saw her was a few days later. She tried the same tactic, so I recognized her quickly. This time, she was trying to buy some vitamins. Again, telling her that I cannot sell an expired item, but the date on the non-sale vitamins was close enough to where I could give a discount. She accepted it, bought the vitamins, and then she left. Well, a few minutes later, she returned to the store while I was in the middle of a large transaction and told me it was a tester bottle and if she could just get a different one. Now, I was a bit frantic at the sudden large order, so to save everybody some time, I give good customer service. I double-checked and confirmed the vitamin inner label was marked as tester, and I made a final judgment. I let her get a different bottle without ringing her up, allowing her to keep the discount price I gave without the item being close to the expiration date. Now, this is something I almost never do, but it was busy that day, and it wouldn't be an overall issue, especially when it was a tester bottle for some reason, which I found odd at the time, the fact that there was even a tester on the shelf, but I wanted to offer something kind. After that, we hired a new cashier, who we will call Kay. Kay is not their real name. She was just starting out and still learning the basics, so I didn't want to overwhelm her. She had just completed basic training on the computers and was out on the floor. While the boss cashier was busy, I would sometimes call her over if she looked a little lost and tell Kay about how to use the register and some tips to make everything just work a little bit faster. Now, sale theft wasn't one of the topics I had a chance to get to yet, since she was still learning how to apply the sales price at all. This particular day, Kay was at the register while I was working the floor. I had just had multiple tooth extractions the day before, and I was in too much pain to speak to customers all day. Kay was alright taking over and would page other cashiers to come up and help if she was too stressed out and confused. Well, on this day, wouldn't you have guessed it, but a certain familiar woman appeared at Kay's register. She told me this after the fact, so I knew exactly what happened. Again, she had a sale item and a normal item and tried the same method. One was expired and the other wasn't, and she wanted a large discount. Kay was in a panic, not knowing how to handle the situation. She said she had called a manager to tell her what to do, and the woman suddenly got furious. She said that she wanted a big sale and that cashiers have let her do it before, so Kay just needs to give a discount on the expired item. Now, not knowing what to do, Kay rang up the expired item and called up a manager to give a discount on the sales tag. Kay told me she was afraid of the woman suddenly getting angry and didn't know how to say no without sounding rude. I told her that if the woman appears, the best thing to do is confirm the expired item and say that we can't sell anything expired by law. She could have the normal item at full price if the date is good, but not the expired one. Kay looked relieved, and we also relayed the same sentiment to the other cashiers at the store alert to be on the lookout for this woman. Well, wouldn't you have guessed it, she appeared once again. By this point, we all had an idea of what she was doing, and we were briefed on her tactics, and she came up to my register with her script. She was talking about how she kept finding expired items and had no idea why, but my bet was that she was taking sales tags and moving them around, and also probably hiding items that were close to their expiration date in the very back, just so she could come back later and retrieve them. She had 2 items as always, and of course, one was expired. And I thought to myself, okay, here we go, back to this repeated dance. I confirmed the date and told her that I can't sell an expired item, even at a discount. She pleaded to just give it to her, but I still reiterated that I cannot sell it to her by law. She could have the regular item, but it wouldn't have a discount. She said that she didn't want it if it didn't have a discount, and that I should just ring up the sale and give it to her just like Kay had done before. She said to me, "Why is this always a problem every time I come in here?" Well, I told her that Kay was still learning, and that right now she wasn't speaking to Kay. She was speaking to the current elder cashier, who was telling her that I had to refuse a sale on an expired item. The woman then asked for a manager, which I was happy to page. The manager approached the desk and asked what was going on, so I gave her the quick rundown that she wanted to buy an expired item. The manager nodded with me and turned her attention to the woman. She then repeats exactly what I said. They're right, we can't sell expired items for safety reasons. It shouldn't have been on our shelves, and I'm honestly sorry about that. The manager took the expired item and brought it back to the storage room to place in the bad product box. The woman was now fuming by this point. I asked if she wanted to purchase the normal item that she had, and she just said no. She wanted that one, and she didn't want it if it didn't have a sale. I said I was sorry to hear that, but I simply didn't have much else to say. I already knew that she was attempting to manipulate us in some kind of way. She said to me, "You guys had it on the shelf, but I can't buy it. You're the only ones that stock it. I should just get it. It's already expired. I don't care about that. You're not gonna sell it to anybody else. That new cashier earlier let me get one." I responded to her by saying, like I said, that new cashier was new and didn't know what to do. We can get in trouble if we knowingly sell an expired product and somebody gets sick. This woman then said, "I don't care about that. I wouldn't sue you guys if I did. I can't find it anywhere else. I'm a regular. Can't you just do this one thing?" I responded by saying, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that by law, but I appreciate you coming in as often as you do." The woman then actually asked if there's another manager that she can speak to. She says to me, "It is ridiculous you keep denying me sales. Do you treat everybody like this?" I said to her, "Well, I deny expired item sales every time I see it. I promise that it's not just you." The entitled Karen responded by saying, "Whatever, just forget about it." She finally left without buying anything, but I get the feeling that she's going to be back and try her tactics on another cashier. Unfortunately for her, every staff member in every department has been told about her in some kind of way, so I seriously doubt she's going to get very far. But for the sake of my sanity, I seriously hope I never have to deal with her ever again. Yeah, that entitled Karen was being super obnoxious. Like seriously, she's trying to work the system based on items that she's pulling out the back of the rack that she has clearly hidden back there until it expires, or she's messing with the stickers on the products. Like that's really weird behavior, and you would think after the first few times of trying this, you would eventually give up. So honestly, good for you for sticking to what you know is right and protecting your own job, because I guarantee you some Karen like this would happily try to get you fired, especially if she got sick after you let this slide just this once. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for refusing to adjust my wedding date just so my brother can attend my wedding? Because right now, it really seems like everybody's turning against me, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. My fiance and I have been engaged for over a year, and we finally set our wedding date 6 months ago. We've been planning this day down to the last detail, from the venue to the guest list, making sure everything is perfect. Our families were all on board, and everything seemed like smooth sailing until my brother threw a wrench in the works. He announced that he's been offered an opportunity of a lifetime to work abroad. It's a great chance for him, and we're all happy, but the problem is the start date for his new job is a week before my wedding. And now he's asking me to move my wedding so he can attend both the ceremony and his job orientation. Now, adjusting the wedding date isn't nearly as simple as he makes it out to be. We've already paid non-refundable deposits, and rescheduling would not only be a logistical nightmare, partner, but can also mean losing a significant amount of money. We've chosen our date based on several factors, like venue availability, and to make sure that many of our loved ones can attend as possible. When I explained this to him, he accused me of being inflexible and not considering how important it is for him to have this job opportunity. My parents are siding with him, saying it wouldn't hurt to look into changing the date, but I feel like they're being unfairly pressured over something that was planned well in advance. So honestly, am I the jerk for refusing to change my wedding date? Because right now, I seriously don't know what to do. No, you are not the jerk, and I think your brother is out of his mind if he thinks it's appropriate for him to make this kind of request. Like seriously, this is not okay. You've put down a lot of money to make this wedding happen. So for him to be like, wow, why are you not thinking about me? This is like a really good opportunity for me. You just don't understand how important this job is for me. Well, clearly your brother doesn't care about how important your wedding is for you. You've done all this legwork to get this wedding ready, and now he's saying you need to change your stuff around just to fit his schedule. That, in my opinion, is completely unreasonable. And if he really wants to still be in attendance for this wedding, then he should probably jump on Zoom or something like that just to see the wedding take place. Like, why are you responsible for changing everything around just because he can't attend? That seems incredibly selfish, and in my opinion, I don't think that you're the problem in this scenario. Am I the jerk for taking my grandchildren to Disney for the first time without their mother, as well as refusing to apologize when they confronted me about it? Because right now, my daughter-in-law is furious with me, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I recently babysat my grandchildren for a period of 4 nights and 5 days, so my son and his wife could attend a wedding in Mexico and spend a few days on vacation. They approached me since her mother would not be available, and I initially said I wasn't comfortable with that. It seemed like a long time to watch the kids, and she has point blank told me that the woman's family is more important than the man's. So I was irritated that I was being asked and not her mother, but I will admit that I did give in when my son became very emotional, but I felt and feel like they were being very manipulative. While I had the kids, I was invited to a birthday at Epcot, and I really wanted to go. It didn't even occur to me to run it by my son or my daughter-in-law, as I had the kids for an extended period of time, and obviously they knew they would be going where I went. My daughter-in-law had previously mentioned wanting to save up for Disney, but she has said that about a lot of things, and never made me aware it was something super special to her. Also, it was Epcot. It's not like I took them to Magic Kingdom, and they had some magical moment of seeing their favorite character. When they returned and found out, my daughter-in-law was furious and burst into tears. She actually said that I stole one of her kids first, and then she called me entitled. To be honest, I didn't react well to being called entitled, especially when she was the one who had previously demanded that I babysit her kids. My son asked me to apologize as she was distraught over missing her first Disney trip, but I declined and I asked them to leave. My son reached out again and said that I should have asked for something that big, and his wife somehow feels robbed. I know she's a huge Disney person, but it was Epcot, not quintessential Disney, and I don't feel like I should have had to miss out on a birthday party that I wanted to attend. I told my son that I am not apologizing for anything, and maybe they should think about how they made me feel when they didn't respect my initial no. And with that, my son asked me to post this online because he feels the internet is going to show me the error of my ways. So honestly, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? For starters, your son and his wife absolutely manipulated you into watching their kids for a week. They imposed those kids on you and more or less strong-armed you into watching them even though you really didn't want to do it for that long. And the grandmother of this story has it right. It's only Epcot. This isn't actually Disney. Like, it's not the real Disney World experience. So for this daughter-in-law to suddenly just be so emotional and crying about all of this, honestly, in my opinion, is just another one of their manipulation tactics. Like, they're just trying to make you feel guilty about a birthday party that you clearly had every intention of going to. And here's the thing, you were still watching the kids. They came along with you just fine, they were safe, and you were watching them the entire time. It's not like you just left them alone to go to a birthday party. I'm willing to bet that they were attached to your hip like the entire time. Also, I'm just gonna say it, Disney adults are incredibly weird, and it sounds like the daughter-in-law is 100% a weird Disney adult. And I'm not talking about people who are like fans of Disney, because that's an entirely different and normal thing. This is instead an adult who makes Disney their entire personality. And based on this reaction from the daughter-in-law, it really seems like she's one of those people. And with that in mind, she deserves absolutely no apology. She can pout, she can whine, she can do whatever she wants. But seriously, this is not that big of a deal. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below. Do you think the grandma of this story is in the wrong for taking their kids to a birthday party at Epcot? Or do you think this really wasn't that big of a deal and that the parents are absolutely overreacting? Leave a comment down below. We would love to hear what you have to say. Am I the jerk for being too hard on my dad by saying that he let me down when he chose to be married over what was best for me? Because right now I feel like I'm at a crossroads and I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my dad and I started therapy 3 weeks ago, and last week during our third session, I opened up bluntly about how I feel like my dad let me down and failed me by prioritizing being married and his own happiness. This was not the first time I tried speaking openly to my dad about this, but it is the first time that he said he appeared willing to listen, and the first time he took the harm it was doing to our relationship seriously. Now, let me explain. My mom passed away when I was just a baby, and my dad was a single dad until I was about 4 years old. It was then that he met my stepmom, who is his wife by the name of Sharon. Sharon is not her real name. She was a divorced mom with a 9-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. They got married when I was 5 years old, and trust me when I say this, Sharon's kids never liked me. They always hated me. When my dad and Sharon first got married, I thought of them as my siblings and I loved them totally, but they were really mean to me. They'd say they hated me, that everybody hated me, and that I should just leave. They encouraged me to run away because nobody would miss me. They said I would never be their sister or their family, and I was a weirdo for calling them my siblings. Well, Sharon noticed this more than my dad, but I used to tell my dad, and when things got bad, I asked if we could just leave. But he'd always try and reassure me, but was very dismissive of how much it was hurting me. He told me we couldn't leave because Sharon was his wife, and we are all a family now, and you can't just leave family. Sharon only said anything when her kids made me cry. I have 2 half-siblings from my dad and Sharon, and I was so excited when they were born, and I bonded with them, and I loved helping with them and playing with them, but then my step-siblings decided to use them against me, and they were older, and Sharon would let them do more, and eventually they told our half-siblings that if they wanted to do cool stuff with them, they had to say no to playing with me, and eventually rejecting me became the normal thing. My younger siblings would repeat a lot of what my step-siblings would say to me. This continued even after my step-siblings moved out because they would take our younger siblings out, or they would visit them and bring them gifts. From year to year, I've been withdrawn and I just stopped trying. I don't try to do anything with my younger siblings, I don't hang out with dad like I used to, and my focus is just on moving out. My dad started to notice late last year, and he sent me to a therapist and then decided family therapy was needed for the 2 of us. And this is when last week happened. My dad looked really shocked at first, and he was apologetic. After we got home, Sharon asked me why I had been so hard on my dad. My dad and Sharon argued about it, and I spent the rest of last week trying to be alone with my thoughts. Our next session is tomorrow. Sharon apologized for saying what she did, but reiterated that she feels like I handled it badly. My dad tried to talk to me since the appointment, but I do not know how to talk to him anymore without a therapist present. So honestly, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? This is really awful because it seems like Sharon basically knew how bad her kids were treating you, and she didn't do anything to try and make the situation better. Like seriously, that is so uncalled for, it's not even funny. Not to mention the fact that your dad just turned a blind eye all the time over it. Like that honestly is so unacceptable, and I seriously just can't imagine growing up in that kind of circumstance. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my stepdaughter's tuition, all because she never liked me? Because right now she is calling me out, and at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I married my husband 6 years ago, and we've been together for about 8 years. He has 2 children. He has a son who's 20 years old and a daughter who's 19 years old, who we will call Emily. Emily is not her real name. I have a daughter who's 9 years old, and I was a widow when I met my husband. Emily had severe issues with her father getting married again, while her brother got along very well with me and my daughter, and he is the best older brother out there. Emily, on the other hand, did not like me, and she treated my daughter very badly, to the point where she almost never left my arms when her sister was home. When Emily was 15, she was permanently moved to live with her mother. My deceased husband left me a small fortune when he passed that I never touched since I had a good job, and I never wanted anything more. So last year, I decided to help pay for my stepson's tuition, and I am planning to do the same with my daughter. Well, my stepdaughter is very angry now, and she is calling me a jerk. But honestly, am I? I never had a good relationship with her. She always hated me, and I don't think she's become a good person, and honestly, I would rather leave more for my daughter than pay for my ungrateful ungrateful stepdaughter. My husband is sad because he thinks that I'm being unjust. And I'm really sad about it, but I still don't feel like I'm the jerk. So honestly, am I in the wrong in this situation? What should I do? I don't think you're the jerk at all because she has no claim over your money. She treated you like garbage. She hated you from the get-go, and she didn't even give you a chance. It doesn't even sound like you were a bad stepmother when she was growing up. Like, it literally just sounds like she decided that she doesn't like you, and then no matter how hard you tried, she still treated you and your daughter like garbage. So in my opinion, I don't think you're the jerk at all because I feel she's reaping exactly what she sowed. And if she's unhappy with the result, then she should have been a better person earlier in her life. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.